looks like a fledgling Charmony dove. But Charmony doves don't live here. So how did this little bird get here? Maybe its parents abandoned it? This place is too dangerous for a fledgling. Let's take it with us. We can put it on the wooden shelf in front of your window. I'll ask the family head to build a cage for it. I think she's right. But if we leave it out in the wild, it won't survive for more than a few days at best. I think people believe birds are meant to fly because they've never seen those birds crashing to their death. For now, I'll keep it in a cage until it can take care of itself because I want it to live, no matter what. Yeah, but Mr. Gopherwood, there's one thing I don't quite understand. What if this little Charmony dove never learns to fly in the end? I mean, if there are fledglings in this world that can never fly throughout their lives, should we let them go back to the sky, only to see them crash to the ground and die?
I'm still alive? Where is Robin? Tell me, now. If you wanted to kill me, you wouldn't give me the chance to speak. Just tell me your demands, lackey of the watchmaker. Choice. Cooperate. What makes you think I'd cooperate with you? I find it hard to believe a man who's full of deception. Show me Robin first. What's your trick this time? Robin. There's no need for words. You're safe. And that's all that matters. It is the Penacony Grand Theater itself. As for the person who employed its power, it is in fact Mr. Gopherwood, the current Dream Master. Correct. When I was trying to track down the person who murdered my sister, apart from you, Gopherwood was my second suspect.
Confronting me first turned out to be a smart move on your part.
I didn't have other options. The Dream Master has been elusive, and even the heads of the families can hardly get an audience with him. Moreover, Mr. Gopherwood has been kind to my sister and me, and I didn't want it all to end like this. Indeed, for the paradise in our dreams. As the head of the Oak family, I'm responsible for ensuring Penacony's promising future. Robin and I will head into the sweet dream and confront the Dream Master. And if it turns out that the family has truly strayed from the harmony, I'll fight alongside you. We'll put the Charmony Festival on hold and make sure Mr. Gopherwood pays for his blood debt. Thank you, Mr. Yang. The Charmony Festival is about to start, and time is against us. We must hasten. When I appeared as a child, my speech, mindset, and soul reflected immaturity and innocence. As I grew into adulthood, I left behind my childlike side. Come to me, my kinship. I have sought their presence with us. Do you sincerely repent and vow to change your ways? Have you examined your soul and confessed all your sins? Are you willing to accept the process of atonement? Very well. Show your dedication and goodwill to the family, and you shall be reinstated among them. Now, please, Leave in peace. Next, please step forward. Rest assured, I have implored their presence to be with us. As long as you are sincere, absolution will be granted. I see. Please, go on. The family is ready to forgive all sinners. I'll ask the Bloodhound family to cease their pursuit. You don't need to live in fear anymore. Next, please step forward. I have sought their presence with us. Let us proceed. Do you seek to atone for your sins through good deeds? Oh, revered triple-faced soul, hear my doubts. Who can judge the strong when their power hides their crimes? Who can vouch when they will pay any price to survive? Who can comfort the purest souls when even they get led astray? If the strong defending the weak is truly the foundation of paradise, then who is responsible for the suffering and anguish in this wretched world? I'm fine. I've been working long hours, and I just made a trip to Dreamflux Reef and back. So, I'm a bit out of sorts. But it'll all be over before we know it. No need to worry about troubling anyone. The Charmony Festival was meant to spread joy and harmony across the cosmos. But now that we know the truth, I'm afraid we'll have to cancel it. The Dream Master rarely grants an audience, even for us. But, given the urgency of the situation, he's agreed to meet us in person. Indeed. Let us hope so. The moon? You mean the Grand Theater? Oh, it's nothing, sir. You see, the traffic on Glock's Avenue can be dangerous. How about I ask a Bloodhound family member to escort you to Ideen Park over there, so you can continue enjoying your sweet dream? What's up, sister? I suppose you have a point. But, in my opinion, that's how most people live their lives. You think that man is not actually living, but that's not quite accurate. Even without penacony, people create their own illusions called self-value. People believe they have a predetermined value to fulfill. Gaining value means gaining power, and those deemed worthless are seen as the weak. However, value doesn't come out of thin air, and there's a limit to it. To accumulate value, people have to take from others. So, the weak get exploited and oppressed. Exactly. But, ironically, people don't think there's anything wrong with it, because they uphold the illusory notion of self-value, and even the weak believe in it. Survival of the fittest. That's where all the tragedies in the world come from. People come to the sweet dream in Penacony to escape from that reality and find solace. No tragedies exist here, only happiness, although in its nascent form. Isn't that the same paradise we yearn for in our dreams? Yes, seeing is believing. I'll accompany you. The Dream Master hasn't shown up yet, so we have some time for a stroll. Seems like that guest's perspective didn't resonate with you either. What you're trying to say is, she thinks she's in control of her life, but in reality, she's just escaping from reality and seeking solace in this sweet dream. Once she steps out of this sanctuary, everything will be lost. However, the paradise in our dreams, it doesn't have to end. That's precisely why this sweet dream in Penacony exists. There will be a way out. Penacony is already on the right track. Show yourself. Your trick won't work on us. That was a personal request from the head of the Iris family, and it has nothing to do with us. Step aside and stop causing trouble for the Charmony Festival. Stop it. I heard a raven cawing in the distance. It seems the Dream Master will arrive soon. Let's wait here for the Dream Master to arrive. Well, someone has to stay awake even in this sweet dream. Remember the old man we met earlier? Without this dream, he might have completely lost himself. Well, don't forget this. Not everyone really has a future. The future for humanity is like the sky for birds. People mistakenly believe that flight is inherent to birds because they've never witnessed those birds crashing to their death. Do you remember how we took in that little Charmony dove when we were young? Well, I didn't mention what happened to it in my letters because I didn't want to upset you. Shortly after you left, it crashed to its death right in front of your window. But here's the thing. If there are birds in this world that can never fly, can we really assert that they belong in the sky? Let's take the Astral Express as an example. The Nameless made tremendous efforts to bridge worlds, gaining fame across the universe. However, only a few extraordinary individuals can endure such a perilous journey. That's because the pursuit of the Trailblaze exceeds the capabilities of ordinary humans. Otherwise, why would this path be filled with broken rails, an abandoned express, and even a fallen eon? Unfortunately, that's exactly what happens. Another name for the future is self-value. While this world has its fair share of heroes who inspire people and garner admiration for their heroic deeds, the majority of ordinary people will never become heroes in their lifetime. Some are born weak and vulnerable. Some find themselves trapped in unfortunate circumstances. Some fall victim to malice and cowardice. When it comes to survival, everyone is equal. And the weak can only watch as their value gets constantly diminished by external forces. While the Harmony holds noble aspirations, the strong will always be strong, and the weak will always be weak. Even in this carefree dream, human nature contains greatness, but it also harbors inherent weaknesses that can't be eradicated. In the end, if people can't even secure their own survival, they won't care about the illusory future of equality. As long as the law of survival of the fittest prevails, there will always be fledglings crashing to their death. People often forget that when the first bird took flight, the entire world envisioned a future where no more fledglings would ever crash to their death.
Are you reading, sister? What are you reading? I see. Then, I would summon the harmonious choir too. Of course I do. It's just that it includes your wish and everyone else's. I long for a true paradise where everyone can find peace. It's a deal then.
Maybe you'll have to become a star first. Congratulations to the both of you on becoming the festive superstars of this year's Charmony Festival. Before entering the Grand Theater, I, on behalf of the organizers, extend my sincere congratulations to you, wishing you joy under their radiance. As previously promised, my sister, Mr. Yang, and I have met with the Dream Master. We delved into the truth about penacony and its stellaron, and have come to a consensus. Both I and the Oak family cannot acquiesce to your request. We acknowledge the perspective of you, Nameless. Penacony does require change, but not as you propose. The planet of festivities cannot and will not revert to a place characterized by chaos, disorder, or anarchy. Through your journey of overcoming obstacles, you must have glimpsed the essence of that era. The vulnerable ruthlessly eliminated, equality non-existent, common folk living precarious lives, eking out a dreary existence. Ultimately, only heroes like yourselves manage to achieve success. But I would dare ask, if you did not possess the special status of having a Stellaron, and you were but an anonymous and frail member among the masses, which penacony would you prefer? A dystopia for the survival of the fittest? Or a sweet dream paradise for all? Ah, Navigator. That is precisely my intention. With all present, let's begin by discussing the details of that meeting. Let's talk about our tribulations and choices, our ideals and beliefs, and our final course of action. The only path to take. I will do as you command. Oh, triple-faced soul, please sear his tongue and palms with a hot iron, so that he will not be able to fabricate lies and make false vows. Understood? Question. Have you devoted your life to your god, never worshipping other gods? Do you love your god as you do yourself, always heeding their admonishments? Have you strayed from the path expected by your god, betraying their name? Have you ever been inordinate with your asks of your god, coveting more than the foundation of the creation itself? Then, a final question. Do you swear to fulfill all vows, past, present, and future? They have seen your faith, and have endorsed your faith. With this, it can be evidenced. What is it, Mr. Yang? Sorry, Robin. It's just you. I did not wish for you to know this. It's a pity that things have turned out this way. We were never children of the harmony. Our ideal paradise could not have been crafted by Shipe. True bliss can only be guaranteed by the one who transcends the many. Within the foundation of law, humanity establishes civilization, and through harmony, we obtain order. Don't worry. I just gave them some time alone to ponder their fates. Should we need to stand against the Nameless, it would only be myself and the Oak family involved. But we haven't reached that point yet, have we? Your efforts for the justice of Penacony are evident to everyone, and have been widely observed. Smart kid. You're just as sharp as the other one. You're mistaken, Miss Himiko. They are in very safe hands, and just as the family has always proclaimed, no one can be harmed in the dreamscape, least of all in the beautiful new world belonging to the Order. Penacony and the entire universe have witnessed far too much innocent bloodshed. The strong wield their blades against the weak, and the victors push the vanquished to the brink of life. Natural selection. The world abides by this principle, establishing the well-being of humanity atop the corpses of the downtrodden. Only we, or rather, I, possess the power to put an end to this farce. If Miss Himiko is interested, let's draw back the veil and speak candidly. I've always firmly believed that people can understand one another through peaceful means. I'm willing to divulge the unembellished truth as to the intentions of the Order's Pathstriders, so that you will make better judgment for the Astral Express, for Penacony, and for this stretch of the universe. Words can hardly do justice to the beauty of that ideal. So, come with me, everyone. Let us retrace our steps and see once again where this road leads. Welcome. This isn't any location in Penacony's dreamscape. It's my inner world. The reason the scenery before you remains unchanged is because your consciousness has drawn on similar concepts to fill in the gaps. It's a tuning process, stronger in effect and more draining on the mind. The gray-haired guest has experienced it before, so he should understand what it entails. Tuning allows you to intuitively grasp my feelings, which also means that I cannot hide anything from you. Now, everyone, please look at the huge screen. The road we once took begins here. From this point on, you will witness the numerous decisions I've faced. I've selected a portion of these to share with you. I believe after going through similar predicaments, you'll be able to better understand my thoughts. Let's begin. The first decision. A story about a baby bird. This story happened when Robin and I were very young. We were victims of the Stellaron disaster, and the family's Mr. Gopher Wood, who would later become the Dream Master of Penacony, saw that we siblings had no one to turn to and took us in later on. Robin and I lived a time with nary a care in the world. One day, after dinner, while my younger sister and I were lounging about in Mr. Gopher Wood's yard, we spotted a fledgling Charmony dove all on its own. That baby bird was tiny. It didn't even have all of its feathers, and it couldn't sing. When we found it, it was already on its last breath, having fallen into a shrub, probably abandoned by its parents. We decided to build a nest for it right there and then. However, thinking back, that winter was unusually cold, with fierce winds at night in the yard, not to mention the many poisonous bugs and wild beasts in the vicinity. It was clear that if we left the fledgling in the yard, it stood no chance of surviving until spring. So, I suggested we take it inside, place it on the shelf by the window, and asked the adults to fashion a cage for it. We decided that when it regained its strength enough to spread its wings, we would release it back into the wild. The tragic part, something that we'd never considered, was that this bird's fate had already been determined long before this moment. Its destiny was determined by our momentary win. Now, I pass the power of choice to you all. Faced with this situation, what choice would you make? The original plan, and build a nest with soft net where the Charmony dove fell, or build a cage for it, and feed it, giving it the utmost care from within the warmth of a home. I eagerly await your answer. I'm happy to see that you made a choice similar to ours. If your mind is made up, let me reveal the outcome of this choice. We passionately nursed it back to health, preparing only the best food for it every day. We even preened its feathers. Later, on the day that Robin left Penacony, we opened the cage door and let it fly back into the sky. I watched it for a long while by the window, probably about 3 or so days. In those 3 long days, the little Charmony dove tried again and again to spread its wings to fly into the sky, but fell to the ground, only to keep trying. Finally, on the 137th attempt, it succeeded. But its attempt did not go perfectly. After flying unsteadily for a while, it fell to the ground. Unable to grasp the direction of the air currents, the fall shattered its wings. It writhed helplessly in my embrace. But it was all for naught, finally succumbing to a painful demise. And in that instant, our tender care, our given love and hopes, they all became the inevitable push that sent it to its death. I deeply regret the choices we made. Next, let us head to the second decision. This time, it's the story of a dream chaser. This story happened when I was appointed as Bronze Melodia, a position exclusive to the Oak family, charged with listening to the problems and vexations of Dreamscape residents and providing them with the relevant guidance. It was during that period that I had the opportunity to hear voices from all corners of the Dreamscape. Joy, sorrow, arrogance, regret. The complex tapestry of human nature that forms the world. And I was fortunate to catch a glimpse of it. He was a dream chaser and an illegal stowaway. Just like the rest of them, he came to Penacony in search of a better life. Except that, to most people, the price he paid, I suppose you could say it was everything. He told me, I sold everything I could at home. The house, the land, even his 2 children. He said he could not afford to raise them, and that at least they could eat if they lived as slaves. He had a plan in place. He would buy back his children once he had made his fortune, and enjoy Penacony's beautiful dream with them. Alas, his plan to smuggle himself was somewhat clumsy, and he was sniffed out by those pig-headed hounds. After hearing the Dream Chaser's story, I immediately appealed to the Bloodhound family to cease their pursuit. That way, at least he could live peacefully. But I was still too naive to the ways of the world. I did not anticipate that what I thought was a kind gesture would later lead to dire consequences. I'll tell you the outcome soon. For now, I'd like you all to make a choice. Will you do as I did and try to convince the Bloodhound family to stop their pursuit so that the Dream Chaser may live peacefully and realize his wishes? Or will you remain silent, leaving him to languish while the hounds are hot on his heels until his inevitable judgment arrives? I look forward to everyone's decisions. Who knows? Perhaps they might even alter the outcome of this tragedy. I'm honored to witness you arriving at the same decision. Out of respect, I'll share with you the dire consequences that my choice back then brought about. First, the outcome. He attained major success. After avoiding capture, he ran a business for a few years, very quickly making a name for himself, elevating his status. He might not have become a tycoon like old Audie, but he was considered a character of excellent repute. Now then, did he realize the wish he set out to achieve? No. The last time I saw him was in the real world, where the hounds were going to permanently exile him, and I was the accompanying Bronze Melodia. The mission was simple. Listen to the criminal's repentance. He told me the reason he was in this predicament was because he conspired to usurp the head of the Alfalfa family. When I asked him about his 2 children, he instead responded with a question. What children? In the end, my heart aligned with the harmony, and the good deed I dared to undertake held no value, turning instead into a wrongdoing. It created a lamentable oppressor and countless oppressed individuals. As to your choice, I once again offer my heartfelt apologies. Next comes the third and final decision. And the story this time is my own. This story happened the day I was appointed the Oak family head. At that time, Mr. Gopherwood was the current Dream Master, and as per his wish, we had a private conversation. What surprised me was that the Dream Master had only come to deliver a letter to me. He let me read its contents, and it was a letter from my sister. The letter contained the usual pleasantries, anecdotes from her travels. Nothing out of the ordinary. Just as I started wondering how this letter related to our discussion, the Dream Master began to speak. My sister, of course. But why would you personally visit me to hand me a letter from my sister containing mere trivialities? From what the letter indicates, she must be in Caspelina 8, correct? She's touring there right now. A stray bullet. What? Is she all right? Those damned savages. I'll pack my bags right away. My gratitude for bringing this to my attention, Mr. Gopherwood. Now you understand why she always wears such elaborate neck ornaments, don't you? It's all in the past, so please don't worry. I share this in the meager hope that you will understand the harmonies, limitations, and predicament. As grandiose as the strong defending the weak sounds many times, it is nothing more than wishful thinking. Likewise, I've prepared one last question, one last choice. But rest assured, this choice will not have any grave consequences, because this is merely a figment of imagination, a nightmare that has haunted me through countless nights. If you ever had the opportunity to make a choice like I did, would you still support Robin's journey on the path of harmony? I see. I am now aware of everyone's stances. Raising these questions merely serves to illustrate one point. The plight of penacony cannot be salvaged by the harmony. The true foundation for a sweet dream paradise can only be established through the order where the strong govern the weak. I know the suffering of being tormented, the turmoil of losing your way, how sorrow and even despair set in when matters don't work out. All of this causes me unending pain, because this is not what happiness is at all. We must teach the weak how to live a happy life. And this life isn't some noble propriety that the upper crust preaches, but in definitive terms, a way of survival that belongs to everyone. Good question. Human consciousness is fundamentally an illusion, a cage known as self-worth. People lured in by this illusion make mistakes, yet still ask that external influences bear the burden. When one mistake after the next permeates the masses, they become impossible to trace. Thus, the amassing of these individual cages culminate to form a prison, a place dictated only by the rule of survival of the fittest. Nature is always accompanied by predation and sacrifice. Its antithesis is known as order. That is what I want to do. Unite people's happiness under the banner of order. They won't need to make bitter choices any longer, nor face the weaknesses of humanity. They can cast aside their primal instincts to build a haven for mankind. Simply describing thoughts is far too abstract, so allow me to provide a simple example. As you all may know, there are societal norms like weekends and long weekends that exist on some worlds. During these hard-earned rest days, people are given the chance to extricate themselves from the stresses of everyday life, allowing a certain tranquility to return to their souls. And it is only on these days that people do not have to adhere to the law where the strong prey on the weak. They can live out their lives happily during these brief intermissions. It's just a pity that 2 or 3 days are still too fleeting compared to the span of a lifetime. From where I stand, society's ideal system should be 7 rest days. Following Sunday, there should ensue a second, a third, and indeed an infinite procession of Sundays. This should be the face of the new world. Idyllic, eternal, peaceful days. And thus, every person can return to their base selves in this utopia. Some gaze in reverence at the stars, pouring their whole beings into calculating the distance between us and the isolated world of Pagana. Meanwhile, some seek refuge in quiet corners, holding one another, unencumbered by the chains of unwelcome obligations. There would be no need to bear the hardships of reality. Only in this way can humanity face the inevitable end with the purest of spirit, living a life of dignity. This is what it is to live in bliss, Miss Firefly. You who are stricken with entropy loss syndrome, you of all would surely understand this. The cost is minute, merely a personal and eternal sacrifice. If this paradise is to be maintained for everyone, someone must remain trapped in solitary awakening until the end of the cosmos. It is not forsaking, but transcending. Flesh, blood, sorrow, weakness. If the physical is the root of spiritual suffering, it is only logical that we defeat it. That's another way of understanding it. But there is no shame in escape. On the contrary, the seeds of escape exist in everyone's hearts. Don't you agree, Miss Firefly? And as to why we sleep, it is because we are afraid to awaken from our dreams. But this is not in conflict with the grand plan. Only in acknowledging this can we truly understand the frailty of human nature. And from there, show compassion and protection. I can't believe that Eon would cast a glance at Penacony at a time like this. Is it because of the resonance from the legacy of the Trailblaze? Or perhaps the bond between you is so strong that it even impresses an Eon. If that's the case, on behalf of the Dream Master of Penacony and the 107,336 members of the Oak family, I'm extending a formal invitation to all of you. I'm cordially inviting you all to the Penacony Grand Theater to participate in the upcoming Charmony Festival. And, of course, you won't be in the audience, but on center stage. Since the future of the Stellaron, Penacony, and even the entire cosmos is at stake, let's draw a conclusion there. In all fairness, if you truly believe in Akavili's path, then show me their courage and determination. What do you mean, Master? I'm right here in front of you, aren't I? But the plan has changed. As her brother, I know she doesn't want to sing for the Order, so I'll take her place. If you consider this a betrayal, well, there can't be two suns in the sky. I'll step up and take down the other sun if necessary. If karma exists, then everyone has their own karma. You have yours, and I have mine. And my karma has nothing to do with you, Mr. Gopherwood. Well, the compromise came sooner than expected. Why? Is this part of your plan? I have one final question, Master. Why did you choose to bring the Order to Penacony? Wouldn't it have been better to choose a desperate world instead of a city filled with hope and dreams? Why? So, it's not you who manipulates the dreamscape with the Stellaron, but... I shall ascend to the heavens becoming the scorching sun. Bathed in my light, my people shall flourish, while all evil shall be eradicated. I'm waiting for you behind the curtain. Following the Asdana tradition, I invite you to enjoy a stage play in 3 acts before the festival begins. History is a mirror reflecting the universe's true essence. Let's use this opportunity to delve into the rich history of Penacony and the eons. Within it, naturally, the future takes shape. Let us commence with the dawning of the world. After the Dusk Wars, darkness veiled the sky, and chaos consumed the earth. Enna the Order emerged, destined to restore all existence. That marked the first day. They gathered nebulae and forged them into picks, thus creating a grand lyre with black and white keys. Strike the white keys, and the sun rose. Strike the black keys, and the moon rose. And so, the cycle of day and night arose. That marked the second day. I genuinely wish to avoid a violent clash with my esteemed guests from afar. Therefore, I've arranged 3 acts before the situation becomes irreparable. Where shall we start our narrative? Well, let's start with the time when Penacony was still a frontier prison. In 2147 AE, a prisoner named Hanun ignited a struggle for liberty and emerged triumphant. IPC referred to it as the War of the Frontier, while the Asdanians dubbed it the War of Independence. It's true that Hanunu was a legendary hero, but it must be acknowledged that while he bestowed freedom upon the prisoners, he didn't grant them true liberation. The 3 nameless stayed on the planet, endeavoring to spread the tenets of Trailblaze throughout the frontier prison. Alas, their efforts proved futile. Once again, Asdana was engulfed in war, this time the enemies originating from within. The prisoners remained prisoners for the rest of their lives, fighting for freedom rather than living for it. As you can see, their sentences have long ended, and the IPC guards have long been expelled. Yet, these prisoners remain enslaved, not by external forces, but by the confines of their own minds. Freedom permeates every corner, except fragile souls. It gives solace only to those who believe in its existence. For I desire not only your enjoyment, but also your assistance in its completion. Thus concludes the first act. Amidst a raging war, the frontier prison headed toward becoming Land of the Exiles. They transmuted streams of stars into inked nibs, creating symbols to be pronounced and counted. They molded stardust into flowing rivers, assigning the righteous upstream and the unjust downstream. Thus, all things were marked, and the world learned to discern between good and evil. That marked the 3rd and 4th days. Behold the ensuing tale, a struggle for power. Penacony witnessed the ascent of the 7 major lineages: tree, grass, flower, bird, beast, fruit, and insect. Peace never truly graced Land of the Exiles. The history in this era is rich and intricate, so please allow me to present it in allegorical form. Land of the Exiles was in disarray, besieged by both internal and external perils. Though the 7 major lineages appeared united on the surface, each harbored their own ambitions, leading to ceaseless conflict. The Black Plum family was the first to fall. They withered away in the White Desert event, orchestrated by the Alfalfa
Because
family.
Master Shapeshifter.
The leader of the Alfalfa family sought to defect to the IPC, trading freedom for survival. However, his eldest son slew him in the name of righteousness and ascended as the new family head. Only when Gopher Wood led the family to Land of the Exiles and earned recognition from all 5 major lineages did Penacony earn its new name, the Land of the Dreams. Alas, they remain but slaves till the very end, with the illusion of freedom. Thus concludes the second act. Amidst an illusory harmony, Land of the Exiles charted its course toward becoming the planet of festivities. They used the planetary rings to establish the law, forging a code of conduct among the masses. A grand lyre with black and white keys served as an instrument, while symbols of articulation and numerical notation took the form of musical notes. The downward flowing river became a melody, and the canon of law dictated the form. Thus, all mortals found their unique place within this symphony. That marked the 5th and 6th days. This is the concluding act of this. I have showcased the past and present of Penacony, hoping that my desire for change resonates within you. And now, I shall reveal its future to you. My apologies for my negligence. I forgot to inform you that the final part was scripted long ago. They imbued the world with meaning, perfecting all things in the heavens and on earth. Then, they rested from the labors of creation. Yet, all beings cried out to Enna. Under the banner of the Order, you have defined all things in the cosmos. But this made us realize that we are but puppets in your hands. Thus, on that day, all beings united and cast the Eon into the abyss of oblivion. That marked the 7th day. Cheers and chants reverberated in it. That concludes everything related to the Order. What are your reflections on this, my dear guests? Nevertheless, this is but a trivial blip in the annals of galactic history. What truly matters is the course this river shall take in the days to come. You've arrived at the perfect moment. The Charmony Festival is about to commence, and it would be a shame if you were absent for the Harmony's prologue. Allow me to extend my warmest welcome once more. Welcome to Penacony Theater, the very core of the Sweet Dream, the abode of the Stellaron, the grand stage of the Charmony Festival, and the very place where the future of Penacony shall be determined through conflict. Because our shared goals give equal weight to the beliefs we strive for. True goodness can only be achieved through faith. Do you still believe that the Order only seeks to control the universe as their puppet, Himiko? It seems you have misunderstood my intentions. Allow me to clarify. My desire is not to resurrect a fallen Eon, or become one myself. My sole objective is to create a paradise free from Eons, where the Order ensures the dignity and happiness of all humanity. A paradise exclusive to us human beings. Looks like we won't be able to convince each other. Now that our conflict has been destined, let's unveil our paths and reveal to the universe the true path. However, before the prelude to the future begins, please take a moment to ponder the questions I've posed. Is darkness equal to daylight? Are sinners equal to the righteous? If you are born weak, which god should you turn to for solace? I already know your decision.
I now permit you to gaze into the sun.
On these 107,336 stones, the almighty and powerful springs of harmony are at my disposal! Supreme Tuner, harmonious choir, Dominicus! Oh, lost souls, come and meet your master! The time has come. Creation will be reborn from the remains of the gods.
Have you broken free from the dream of order? Without order, how can the weak be righteous? If you have any objection, feel free to make your case. 107,336 notes. I solemnly invite you to join the glorious chorus and ascend to the heavens! If the dreamscape is indistinguishable from reality, can it still be called an illusion? With this perfect melody I command, recreate paradise anew!
Music.
Robin, is that you singing? Even so, they don't know where they should be heading. That's why I had to become the lone star in the sky to guide them. If we had never experienced solitude, how could we have embarked on different paths? Now, our final talk has concluded.
All the work of creation has been completed. The inevitable day has arrived. The embryo of philosophy will reshape for us all of reality.
If your paradise can save more people, sever my path with your hands. Forward beyond. May I honor you with this 7-day vow. I command you, it was not you who created all things. It was humanity that created you. Your divine being will become the foundation of our paradise.
So, why does life slumber? The night is still too short.
Where did that come all of a sudden? It's the Torment Eagles. Don't worry, it's still there. It's located in the inner ring of Penacony and can only be seen when spring and summer overlap. As for the question you asked, I think stars do die, just like people. But do you know, sister? No star actually belongs to the present. The light we see from them is from a long time ago. Even after the stars perish, their light will travel millions of light years, spanning countless years, to illuminate the night sky of another world. In our paradise, I believe there will be a star like that, shining with the same light. Its radiance will last forever, and its name will be happiness. Yeah, you're right. It's a deal then. This is our promise, and nothing will sway our ideals.